So to begin, let's talk about what you'll be presented with when you boot the game up, right? Which is the graphics and the sound design. So Pragmata is absolutely gorgeous, but not in the typical hyper-realistic Unreal Engine tech demo kind of way, if you know what I mean. Instead, it goes for more like a sterile, like a clean, almost symmetrical visual style that is perfect. It's a perfect fit for the atmosphere of outer space. The lighting and the reflections do a fantastic job of selling the setting, making every hallway and metallic surface feel believable, and even the level that has organic materials still look great. The sound design complements the visuals beautifully. From like the muffled thrusters to the thuds of Hugh's boots on the station floor during his idle animations. Yeah, there's an incredible level of detail packed into the audio and visuals of this game. Small touches like these make the world feel, and I'm going to use that word, immersive and alive. I can tell that a lot of care clearly went into making the environment feel authentic, and it shows in nearly every moment of gameplay, and the same thing goes for the audio engineering team. It was very well done. Alright, with that said, let's go ahead by talking about the story. So the story itself is pretty solid, even if it is fairly predictable at times. There aren't many huge twists or shocking revelations, but it is wholesome and sincere, with a few surprising moments sprinkled throughout as you're playing the story. What really elevates the narrative are the performances from the voice actors. Every character feels believable thanks to the grounded, natural performances of each person. There's no overacting or forced dramatization, which could make characters seem kind of like very video gamey, exaggerated. There's none of that here. Every character actually feels like it could be like a real person in real life, like a next door neighbor. The relationship between the main characters carries the emotional weight of the story and keeps you invested from the beginning to the end. Alright, and with that said, let's go ahead and touch on the gameplay. So, this is where Pragmata actually truly shines. Going into the game, I expected a decent shooter, with a solid story and the usual like weapon upgrades and stuff like that, progression type stuff. What I didn't expect, however, was how unique and how engaging the gameplay would become. The moment I realized that I could aim, move, shoot, hack enemies, all while using the face buttons on my controller to do certain things too, I knew this game was gonna be like something special. From the first time they introduced the mechanics, it was like, wow, this is cool, I like this. And then it evolved into, I can see how this could get kind of challenging, you feel me? And then eventually it becomes, there is so much going on right now on screen, and I loved every moment of it. Alright, so let's touch on replayability and enjoyment. Replayability is surprisingly high because the combat system stays engaging after the credits are even done rolling. So once you fully understand the mechanics, encounters become almost puzzle-like, encouraging experimentation and mastery. Every fight feels like a balance between strategy and reflexes, and the constant mental engagement makes repeat playthroughs enjoyable. This is the kind of game where mastering the mechanics become part of the fun. In conclusion, Pragmata is a refreshing take on the third-person shooter genre. Honestly, it feels like Capcom may have created an entirely new third-person genre or combat here, you know what I mean? Like a different genre for the third person shooter with believable and lovable characters. A straightforward but heartfelt story, gorgeous visuals, excellent sound design and gameplay that absolutely carries the experience. Pragmata succeeds at making you feel like you're using both sides of your brain while still having a blast. The gameplay hooks you almost immediately and never lets you go. And that's the reason why Draco Games will give it a 9 out of 10.